Welcome everyone to Mysteries of Mythology. Today we embark on an enthralling journey through the history of witchcraft, one of the most mysterious and misunderstood aspects of human belief and folklore. For centuries, witchcraft has been shrouded in myth, fear, and intrigue, evolving across cultures and eras. From its earliest forms in ancient societies to its vilification during the infamous witch hunts, and finally to its modern reinterpretation as a symbol of empowerment and spirituality. Witchcraft is as multifaceted as it is fascinating. Let's delve into its origins, historical transformations, and enduring legacy. Chapter 1. Roots in Antiquity, the Birth of Witchcraft. Witchcraft as we know it today has its roots in ancient civilizations, where spiritual practices were deeply intertwined with daily life. Early forms of magic and sorcery can be traced back to Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece, where priestesses and shamans played pivotal roles in their communities. They served as intermediaries between the human and divine realms, invoking gods and spirits to heal, predict the future, and influence natural events. For instance, the ancient Sumerians spoke of a shipu, or exorcists, who wielded spells to banish malevolent forces. Similarly, in ancient Egypt, magic, known as Heka, was seen as a vital force sustaining the cosmos, and practitioners like Isis were revered for their command over life and death. However, early witchcraft wasn't synonymous with evil. It was simply an extension of religious practice, often associated with fertility rites, agricultural success, and protection against misfortune. It wasn't until these practices intersected with shifting religious dogmas that their practitioners began to be perceived as threats rather than protectors. Chapter 2. The Rise of Fear. Medieval Witchcraft in the Church. The perception of witchcraft underwent a dramatic shift during the medieval period. As Christianity spread across Europe, it sought to suppress pagan traditions and practices that didn't align with its doctrines. Folk magic and herbalism, once respected as healing arts, were increasingly demonized. The Church associated these practices with devil worship, transforming benign healers into suspected witches. The publication of texts like the Malleus Maleficarum, 1487, a manual for identifying and prosecuting witches, escalated this fear. Women, particularly those who were marginalized, widows, herbalists, or midwives, became prime targets. The infamous witch trials of the 15th to 18th centuries saw thousands executed, often based on flimsy evidence and hysteria. These trials weren't limited to Europe. They spread to colonial America, with the Salem witch trials becoming a grim symbol of mass paranoia and injustice. Chapter 3. The Witch as a Symbol, Folklore and Literature. While real-life witch hunts unfolded, the figure of the witch was also being immortalized in folklore and literature. Fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel and stories of Baba Yaga in Slavic mythology painted witches as malevolent crones lurking in forests, preying on the innocent. These tales reflected societal fears of the unknown and often reinforced negative stereotypes about women who defied conventional roles. Simultaneously, the literary world began to explore the witch as a more complex figure. Shakespeare's Macbeth, with its enigmatic weird sisters, depicted witches as harbingers of fate and chaos, while later works in the Gothic tradition, such as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, grappled with themes of forbidden knowledge and moral ambiguity. By the 19th century, witches had become both feared and fascinating, a paradoxical blend of menace and mystique. Chapter 4. Witchcraft Reimagined, the 20th Century Revival. The 20th century saw a remarkable revival and redefinition of witchcraft, moving away from its dark history of persecution. The rise of neo-pagan movements like Wicca, founded by Gerald Gardner in the 1940s, reframed witchcraft as a spiritual practice rooted in nature worship and personal empowerment. Wiccans rejected the idea of witches as servants of evil, instead embracing the archetype of the wise healer and protector of the earth. This period also witnessed a growing interest in witchcraft within popular culture. Films like The Craft and Hocus Pocus, along with shows like Charmed and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, brought witches into the mainstream, blending ancient lore with modern aesthetics. Far from being objects of fear, witches became symbols of independence, rebellion, and feminist power. Chapter 5. Witchcraft today, from spirituality to activism. In the 21st century, witchcraft continues to evolve, intersecting with contemporary movements and identities. For many, it serves as a form of spiritual expression, offering a connection to ancestral traditions and a sense of autonomy in a rapidly changing world. Modern witches often blend ancient rituals with new technologies, sharing spells and practices on social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Moreover, witchcraft has become a tool for activism. Practitioners use their craft to address social and environmental issues, casting spells for justice and healing. The resurgence of witchcraft in marginalized communities highlights its role as a symbol of resilience and resistance, a means of reclaiming power in the face of oppression. Chapter 6. The Legacy of Witchcraft. Mystery and Modernity. The history of witchcraft is a tapestry woven with threads of fear, reverence, and transformation. From its sacred origins in ancient rituals, to its demonization in the Middle Ages, and finally to its modern reinterpretation as a source of strength and creativity, witchcraft has always mirrored the fears and aspirations of humanity. As we conclude this exploration, it's clear that the witch is more than just a figure of folklore. She is a reflection of society's evolving relationship with power, knowledge, and the unknown. Whether seen as a healer, a heretic, or a hero, the witch remains an enduring symbol of mystery and transformation, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to adapt and reimagine itself through the ages. Origins of necromancy. The origins of necromancy trace back to the dawn of civilization, where the belief in an afterlife was intertwined with rituals of death. The Sumerians, ancient Egyptians, and Greeks were among the earliest cultures to practice forms of necromancy, believing that the dead held secrets that could unlock great power. In Mesopotamia, the realm of the dead was seen as an ominous place ruled by deities like Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld. The Sumerians believed that by summoning spirits, they could glean knowledge from the departed, whether it was to gain insight into the future or to bind powerful forces to their will. The Egyptians, too, revered the dead as powerful entities. The Book of the Dead, a guide to navigating the afterlife, illustrated the importance of rituals meant to appease spirits and ensure their safe passage to the underworld. The priests of ancient Egypt were adept at performing rites that communicated with these spirits, offering them sacrifices and prayers in exchange for wisdom and divine favor. But it was the Greeks who gave necromancy a darker edge, with the practice known as Nikia, the summoning of souls to receive prophecies. The most famous example being the Greek hero Odysseus, who descended into the underworld to consult the spirits of the dead, seeking guidance for his perilous journey home. Necromancy in the classical world. As centuries passed, necromancy evolved into an art that was increasingly associated with dark powers and forbidden knowledge. In the classical world, necromancy was often seen as the domain of powerful sorcerers and witches who sought to commune with the dead for personal gain. One such figure was the Roman sorceress Erecto, who was infamous for her mastery of necromantic rituals. It is said that she could raise the dead, asking them to speak through their reanimated corpses and reveal the secrets of the underworld. The practice became entwined with the darker side of magic and sorcery. Roman and Greek texts, such as The Golden Ass by Apuleius, recount disturbing accounts of necromancy rituals that involve sacrifices, incantations, and grave robbing. As necromancy began to be associated with malevolent intentions, it drew the attention of the ruling powers, who feared its potential to disrupt the established order. The ability to raise the dead, or even just to communicate with spirits, was seen as a threat to the living, and anyone who was suspected of practicing necromancy risked persecution. The darker elements of necromancy came to the forefront during the late Roman Empire, where it was rumored that some practitioners would call upon the dead to raise armies of the deceased, using their spectral forces to fight in wars or settle personal vendettas. This not only painted necromancy as a dangerous art, but also solidified its association with chaos, death, and destruction. Necromancy in the Dark Ages. During the medieval period, necromancy was woven into the very fabric of the Christian worldview. The Church, with its strict doctrines of life, death, and resurrection, regarded necromancy as a heresy. Practitioners were often labeled as witches or warlocks, accused of consorting with demons, and faced persecution during the infamous witch hunts. The belief that communication with the dead could summon evil spirits took root in Christian doctrine, and the art of necromancy became synonymous with diabolism. One of the most infamous cases of necromantic practice in the medieval era involved the infamous necromancer and alchemist, Count Cagliostro. Cagliostro was rumored to possess the ability to summon and control spirits to achieve immortality. His notorious acts involved gathering corpses from graveyards and using them in elaborate rituals to gain the favor of dark forces. The Count's influence spread across Europe, attracting followers who sought immortality or knowledge of hidden secrets. His practices were seen as dangerous and sacrilegious, and eventually he was condemned by the Catholic Church as a charlatan, a liar, and a dangerous sorcerer. It was not just individuals like Cagliostro who practiced necromancy in the Middle Ages, but entire sects and underground cults dedicated to it. The grimoires, ancient magical texts that outlined rituals and spells, often contained instructions for raising the dead or summoning spirits from the beyond. These texts were fiercely guarded by practitioners, passed down through secret societies, and often written in obscure languages to shield their contents from inquisitors and authorities. Yet despite the risks, many believed that the power of necromancy was unmatched, a power that could transcend death itself. The allure of forbidden knowledge during the Renaissance, a renewed interest in ancient occult practices led to a rebirth of necromantic traditions. Scholars, poets, and alchemists who sought to unlock the secrets of the universe delved into the forbidden arts, believing that necromancy could be the key to understanding the mysteries of life and death. In this period, necromancy was often seen as a form of high magic, separate from the dark superstitions of the medieval world. The famous magician and astrologer John Dee was rumored to have performed necromantic rituals, attempting to communicate with angels and spirits to gain forbidden knowledge about the universe. Renaissance necromancers and alchemists sought to merge the spiritual world with the physical, viewing death not as the end, but as a gateway to hidden realms. Necromantic rituals became more elaborate and sophisticated, involving complex symbols, astral projection, and the summoning of powerful beings from the afterlife. Books such as the Picatrix, a medieval grimoire of astrology and magic, became treasured texts for those who wished to master the necromantic arts. As the boundaries between science, philosophy, and the occult blurred, necromancy gained a certain intellectual allure, though it remained forever tied to the darker forces of the unknown. Necromancy and the occult revival. In the modern era, necromancy has undergone a fascinating transformation. While its historical connection to dark magic and evil spirits remains, many modern practitioners have sought to reframe it as a tool for personal enlightenment or spiritual communication, rather than a path to power or immortality. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, spiritualism movements such as the Fox Sisters in the United States revived interest in contacting the dead through seances and mediums. These movements, while not strictly necromancy, shared many similarities with the older practices of summoning spirits and communing with the deceased. Today, necromancy is often seen in a more symbolic or psychological light. Some modern practitioners view it as a way to confront and understand death, not to control or manipulate it. Necromancy is now part of various occult and esoteric traditions, where practitioners seek to communicate with the spirits of the dead for guidance or healing. Its appeal has even seeped into pop culture, with necromancers becoming popular characters in films, books, and video games, often depicted as misunderstood anti-heroes or tragic figures with a deep understanding of life's transient nature. However, even with its modern reinterpretation, necromancy still carries an aura of darkness and danger. It remains a practice that many consider too dangerous to fully embrace. The very idea of reaching beyond the veil and disturbing the dead remains a taboo for most, and necromancy continues to be an art fraught with moral and spiritual implications. Necromancy's place in the mystical world. Despite the changing views on necromancy, one truth remains undeniable. It is an art that deals with the most profound and existential of human fears, the inevitability of death. Whether used for personal gain, spiritual exploration, or dark purposes, necromancy represents humanity's unrelenting desire to understand and control what lies beyond life. Its practitioners, whether in ancient tombs or modern covens, stand at the crossroads between the living and the dead, engaging in a delicate dance with forces that are beyond comprehension. The legacy of necromancy, then, is a testament to humanity's relationship with death, power, and knowledge. Throughout history, it has been a double-edged sword, a practice that offers the potential for enlightenment and mastery, but also carries the risk of destruction and damnation. The pursuit of necromantic power is as much a journey into the self as it is into the world beyond, where the line between life and death is forever blurred. And so the mystery of necromancy endures, a dark art whose secrets may never be fully revealed. Here's a list of 15 occult cults and groups centered around dark arts, magic, and demonic practices. The Church of Satan, founded by Anton LaVey in 1966, the Church of Satan is a religious organization that promotes Satanism as a philosophy of individualism, self-indulgence, and self-improvement. The group rejects traditional religious teachings, instead advocating for the veneration of Satan as a symbol of human freedom and rebellion. Rituals often include theatrical performances, symbolic rituals, and the practice of black magic. The Temple of Set. The Temple of Set is a modern satanic group founded by Michael A. Aquino in 1975 as a splinter from the Church of Satan. The group worships Set, the ancient Egyptian god of chaos and darkness, as a symbol of personal empowerment and the pursuit of self-deification. Rituals involve self-transformation, occult knowledge, and magical practices designed to elevate the practitioner's consciousness. The Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was a secret society founded in the late 19th century that focused on esoteric and occult teachings, including ceremonial magic, astrology, and the Kabbalah. While it was not overtly demonic, many of its teachings revolved around contacting and invoking powerful spiritual entities, some of which were considered malevolent or dangerous. The Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO. The OTO is a mystical and occult organization that combines elements of Freemasonry, Thelema, a religion founded by Aleister Crowley, and ceremonial magic. The group promotes the practice of magic to attain spiritual enlightenment, and many of its rituals involve invoking deities, spirits, and sometimes darker forces. Crowley's philosophy of do what thou wilt is central to the group's teachings. The Left-Hand Path. The left-hand path is a broad term that encompasses various occult traditions and practices that focus on self-deification, the exploration of darkness, and the breaking of societal taboos. Groups within this path often reject conventional morality, embracing individualism, power, and magic to harness the forces of darkness, including demonic entities. The Black Order. The Black Order is an occult group that follows a blend of Satanism, ceremonial magic, and occult traditions. Its members are focused on summoning and controlling demonic forces for personal power, and its rituals often revolve around invoking dark spirits and entities. The group views darkness as a path to liberation, growth, and mastery over the world. The Sons of Belial. This is a group of occultists who revere the biblical demon Belial as their patron deity. The Sons of Belial practice black magic and invoke Belial to gain strength, power, and spiritual enlightenment. The group's rituals often involve blood sacrifices, curses, and other dark rites, believing that Belial can grant them power in exchange for their devotion. The Cult of Cthulhu, inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's works. The Cult of Cthulhu is an occult group that venerates the cosmic entity Cthulhu, a malevolent being that lies dormant beneath the ocean. Practitioners engage in rituals aimed at invoking or communing with Cthulhu and other eldritch deities, hoping to gain forbidden knowledge or power from these ancient, often demonic entities. The Church of Azazel. This modern occult group worships Azazel, a fallen angel often associated with rebellion and darkness. Azazel is considered by the group to be a teacher of forbidden knowledge and a source of empowerment. The church's rituals often involve invoking Azazel through the use of sigils, incantations, and symbolic blood offerings, all aimed at achieving personal transformation and mastery over the world. The Dark Illuminati. The Dark Illuminati is a secret society that claims to control the world through the manipulation of occult powers and demonic entities. The group practices high-level sorcery and magic to influence global events, using dark rituals to summon demons, invoke spirits, and manipulate reality to align with their agenda. The Dark Illuminati is said to be a hidden network of powerful individuals using occult practices for control. The Black Brotherhood. The Black Brotherhood is a term used to describe various cults and secret societies that follow the teachings of Luciferianism. Members of the Black Brotherhood seek to summon dark forces, primarily demons and fallen angels, to gain occult knowledge and power. Their rituals include invoking these entities to achieve personal goals, often involving sacrifices and acts that go against conventional religious morals. The Cult of the Infernal Flame. This group worships the infernal forces of hellfire, including Satan, Lucifer, and various demons of the underworld. Their rituals focus on creating an infernal fire through intense magical practices, including fire rites, blood offerings, and intense meditation to invoke demonic energies. The cult believes that by merging with these flames, they can gain ultimate power and knowledge. The Order of the Nine Angles, Shiri ONRA. The ONA is a satanic occult group that combines the left-hand path with elements of traditional Satanism and neo-paganism. The order is infamous for its extreme beliefs, including human and animal sacrifice, and its veneration of demonic deities. The ONA is centered around advancing spiritually through dark and dangerous rituals, calling on demonic entities to empower its members. The Dark Arts Society. The Dark Arts Society is a modern occult group that specializes in the practice of dark magic and necromancy. Members are encouraged to explore the forbidden realms of magic, including necromantic rites to communicate with spirits and demons. The society believes that confronting darkness head-on and utilizing its power is the key to achieving self-empowerment and spiritual ascension. The Hellfire Club. While not exclusively an occult group, the Hellfire Club of the 18th century, founded by Sir Francis Dashwood, was infamous for its secretive and debauched rituals that often included mock worship of Satan and demonic figures. The group engaged in acts of hedonism and dark rituals to challenge conventional religious morality, inviting demons or spirits into their ceremonies as part of their rebellious philosophy. Dark arts rituals, distinct from necromancy, generally focus on harnessing the power of evil or destructive forces. These practices are commonly associated with black magic, which involves the invocation of spirits, demons, or deities to influence the material world through supernatural means. The intent behind dark arts rituals is often to manipulate or control others, achieve personal desires, or gain forbidden knowledge, with little regard for ethical boundaries. The rituals involved in the dark arts can be incredibly varied, ranging from simple spells to complex ceremonies that involve multiple practitioners. A typical dark arts ritual might require the use of specific tools such as an athame, ritual knife, pentagram, candles, typically black or red, and a ceremonial robe. These tools are believed to channel and direct the practitioner's energy or the energy of the invoked spirits. Many dark arts rituals are intended to cast spells, such as curses or hexes, on an individual, place, or situation. A ritual to curse someone might involve writing the person's name on a piece of paper, burning it, and visualizing their downfall while chanting an incantation. In more elaborate ceremonies, the practitioner may summon powerful demons or deities to carry out their will, sometimes requiring sacrifices or offerings to secure the demon's cooperation. Ritual tools and symbols play a crucial role in dark arts and necromantic practices. These items are not only physically important, but they are also believed to hold symbolic power, representing various forces or deities that the practitioner seeks to invoke. Common tools used in dark rituals include candles, pentagrams, atames, and grimoires. Candles are often used in dark rituals to represent light, fire, and the energy of the practitioner. In black magic, candles, particularly black or red, are used to focus energy and draw upon the power of the practitioner or the entity they wish to summon. The color of the candle can also have specific meanings: black for banishment or protection, red for passion or strength, and so on. Pentagrams are perhaps the most iconic symbols of dark arts rituals. An inverted pentagram, with its 5 points representing the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and spirit, is often used in dark rituals to invoke demonic entities or malevolent forces. The pentagram serves as a gateway to the spiritual world, with the downward pointing star symbolizing the control of supernatural forces. Athames, ritual knives used to direct energy, are integral tools in many dark arts ceremonies. The athame is used to cut through spiritual energy or create boundaries within a ritual circle. In necromancy, the athame might be used to physically and symbolically sever connections between the living and the dead. Grimoires, magical books containing spells, rituals, and instructions, are also critical in dark rituals. They serve as a guide for practitioners, outlining the steps for invoking demons, casting spells, or performing sacrifices. Grimoires like the Key of Solomon or the Lesser Key of Solomon are particularly renowned for their detailed instructions on summoning and controlling demonic entities. The dark arts have long been a source of fascination and inspiration for artists, often manifesting through themes of death, occultism, witchcraft, and the supernatural. Below is a list of popular paintings and artworks that delve into these themes, exploring the mysterious and macabre. Saturn Devouring His Son by Francisco Goya, 1819-1823. Another dark masterpiece by Goya. This painting depicts the Greek titan Saturn, Cronus, consuming his child. The grotesque and horrifying image of Saturn devouring his own flesh and blood highlights themes of destruction, greed, and fear of the passage of time. Goya's dark palette and raw emotion evoke a sense of horror and inevitability, often interpreted as a comment on the brutal nature of life and power. The Dance of Death by Hans Holbein the Younger, 1526. In this series of woodcuts, Holbein explores the inevitability of death and the power of the Dance of Death motif. The figures of death, depicted as a skeletal figure, are shown dancing with people from all walks of life, suggesting that death comes for everyone, regardless of status or wealth. The series emphasizes the fragility of life and the dark, inescapable force of mortality. The Crucifixion by Matthias Grunewald, 1515. Grunewald's The Crucifixion, part of the Isenheim altarpiece, is a grotesque depiction of Christ's crucifixion. The body of Christ is shown in excruciating detail, with contorted limbs and a pained expression. The unsettling image emphasizes suffering, death, and the supernatural realm of Christ's sacrifice. The work's raw, visceral emotion aligns with the darker aspects of religion and spirituality. The Nightmare by Henry Fuseli, 1781. Fuseli's The Nightmare is one of the most iconic representations of dark, supernatural themes in art. The painting shows a woman in a deep sleep, seemingly possessed by a demonic incubus, with a nightmarish figure looming over her. The scene is unsettling, highlighting themes of fear, vulnerability, and the supernatural power of dreams and the unconscious mind. The Temptation of St. Anthony by Salvador Dalí, 1946. In Dali's surrealist painting, the saint is tormented by strange, distorted visions of temptation, including grotesque creatures and dark figures. Dali's fascination with the subconscious and the spiritual realm brings a sense of both chaos and allure to the concept of temptation and damnation, incorporating elements of the dark arts and mysticism into his visionary work. The Death of Sardanapalus by Eugène Delacroix, 1827. This dramatic painting depicts the legendary Assyrian king Sardanapalus, who orders his own death and the destruction of his possessions and concubines. The chaotic and violent scene, full of blood and fire, symbolizes the end of a tyrannical reign, incorporating both dark themes of death and destruction. The unsettling nature of the painting taps into primal fears and the power of unchecked human emotion. And that's it for today's video, folks. We've delved into some of the most notorious occult groups and their dark practices, all centered around magic, demonic forces, and the pursuit of forbidden power. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of the occult.